Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Building a Case for Recognition. I am your host, Becca Pittman, and this webinar is presented by Levy Recognition. So if you have any questions at all, please just tweet us at Levy Recognition, and we will answer all your questions on Twitter, or you can, of course, email us. So we get a lot of questions about people saying that their main challenge is getting their executive team to really prioritize employee recognition and also get involved with it. So executives are primarily going to care about how recognition affects their desired business results. So they typically want to see the quantitative value or impact that it's going to have. And lucky for you, there are a ton of information and studies that have been done to really back recognition. So this webinar is going to give you the information and the structure to put together a full communications plan that you can then present to your executives. So we're really going to be focusing on three main topics today. So first, we're going to discuss what your executives are thinking and really get into the executive's mindset to understand what is important to them and what they're looking for. And that'll really help you shape your communication and presentation plan. And then once we know what executives care about and the effects of recognition, we will go over how to develop your case, and then from there, how to create an executive communications plan. So we'll be getting insight from top CEOs as to what they're thinking about and how they view employee recognition. And we'll also go into a few case studies about how employee recognition was implemented and what the successes were from that. So I wanted to start with this quote from Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Group. I think that it really embodies the purpose of employee recognition and its importance in every organization. So he says, I think if people who work for a business are proud of the business they work for, they'll work that much harder. And therefore, I think turning your business into a real force for good is good business sense as well. So this is the point of recognition. It's to be building a workplace that employees want to go to and that they're proud of. It's about aligning your goals with your participants' goals. So, well said, Richard Branson. So your executives are going to have a few main questions. So the first one is, does it make financial sense? So the main goal of pretty much every single business is profits. So executives have to think about the implications of all their financial decisions. But employee recognition is really an investment. So when covering this question, it's really important to talk about determining the ROI of a program, which we will talk about later. And then what are the long-term and short-term effects? Your executives are going to want to see that there are both short-term and long-term. So they're not waiting 3 years to reap the benefits of recognition, but throughout the program, it's going to be helping, and then in the long run, what it will do for the company. And then going along with that is, will it help reach our core business goals? So a successful recognition program is one that connects business goals and values to the goals and values of your participants. So it's an effective way to motivate employees to all work towards individual and common goals. So when presenting, it's important to make sure that you're covering all of these questions and showing exactly how employee recognition will help your business grow. So executives are making wise decisions with their finances, and they should be careful about their decisions. So hopefully they have an open mind to new ideas and innovation, but they are primarily going to care about what happens with their investment and what they will see in return. So I thought this quote by Hock Tan, the CEO of Broadcom, can really probably relate to a lot of executives. So it's great to innovate. I have full respect for that, but it's also great to get a return on all the innovation and all the investment you make. So instead of just going in with a bright idea and no real understanding of everything that it can do for your company, going in equipped with all the information, how it can benefit your company and the long-term effects, and even how you're going to prove the ROI of the program, you have a much greater chance of actually getting their buy-in and their full support. So using the topics that we just discussed, you can use that to start developing your case. So the structure for this stage in planning a presentation for your executives, we like to first define the problem, and we're really thinking about the high level problems, and then tell them why it matters and why they need to act on it now, and then prove that this is a solution that can help solve the problem. So when clearly defining the goal, ask yourself, what is the problem that you're hoping to solve through recognition? And again, it should be a high level problem. It shouldn't be that you just heard some gossip in the break room about an unhappy employee, but really high level on to numbers of how it's affecting the overall company. So whether it's a lack of reaching goals or high turnover rates, or even low customer satisfaction or low morale in general, just define the issues that you're planning to solve. And then by clearly defining the problem, not only is it gonna, not only will your executives better understand and be open to the idea of fixing the problem, but it also gives you and your team something to base your program objectives off of, so you're making sure that this is solving the problem. So now that they understand what the problem is, you have to show them why it matters and why they should act on it now. So it's a good time to pull out the stats and numbers for what's going to happen if they don't act on it. So show them how it's costing them money and causing inefficiencies. So, for example, we're going to look at a common problem that we see, which is high turnover rates. Companies are always wanting to retain their employees, but they don't always know how much it's affecting them financially and otherwise. So, calculating that turnover rate can help you determine the cost of that. So, you might already know this, but the turnover rate is calculated by the number of separations in a month divided by the average number of employees you have multiplied by 100. So, there's lots of ways you can calculate the turnover rate and the cost of turnover. And by showing this to them, it's going to really capture their attention and seeing why this investment is going to matter. So you can research this out, show your executives what it's costing them, what the numbers are, to really help them understand why it's a problem and why it needs to be addressed. So the next step is proving it. So provide them with solid evidence and analysis by presenting all the stats that are relevant and analyze them to how they can affect your company. So without question and also rare exception, engaged organizations massively outperform ones that aren't good places to work or to do business with. And today, there hasn't really been a serious researcher or a leader that disputes the evidence that a better engaged workforce, better engaged customers, and better engaged key stakeholders lead to a more productive and a more profitable organization with better outcomes all across the board. And the evidence is clear. Organizations that are among the best at engaging their employees are 3 times more productive than the average organization. That is 300% more productive. And organizations that engage their employees with their customers see exponential revenue and profit gains of more than 270%. So you know your executives and you know what they're going to respond to in regards to proof about the solution that you're suggesting. So maybe statistics really catch their attention and that's what they like to go off of. They like to see the research and the stats, but maybe your executives are more into seeing the case studies and seeing how this has actually worked for a specific company, or maybe they like a little bit of both. So we are going to take a look at a real life situation from this company that implemented our employee recognition solution. So a leading business services company improved its employee retention and their engagement with the launch of a multifaceted rewards and recognition program that was really designed with their corporate values and customer satisfaction in mind. So just a brief overview of the situation is that they had a range of employees across many different generations, demographics, and skills, and they were experiencing higher than normal levels of voluntary turnover rate. Sorry about that. So they started everything by conducting an all-employee survey where key cultural and workplace initiatives were identified. And they then categorized these into 26 different groups. And then they created voluntary committees out of these groups where the employees were in charge of identifying success metrics, execution tactics, improvement initiatives, and also just submitting their ideas for cost-saving process improvements for their work practices. So in addition to the committees, they provided employees with the opportunity to engage with one another through an online recognition platform. So their program consisted of e-cards for peer-to-peer recognition, the nomination of coworkers for points-based recognition that they could then redeem for rewards, and then also nominating outstanding individuals for significant recognition and awards. And both the points-based and the significant recognition were all based on manager approval. So all of that goes through our online portal. So to roll out the launch of the program, they first pre-announced it to all their managers through a webinar and explained how everything works and what their key roles would be. And then they launched the actual program to everyone at an all-associate town hall event that was actually led by their company's leadership, which was huge. So now that the program has been in place for a while, they have been able to reduce voluntary turnover to 3%, which is incredible. And recognition has been given to 98% of their associates and peers. And they were also able to identify those 26 company initiatives with 22 of those completed in a year. So through the thoughtfully designed employee recognition program, the company was able to greater their employee engagement and their alignment with their company values. All right, so now that you've established a problem, the solution, and also the proof, it's important to start the planning stage before involving your executives. So we've laid out 7 easy steps that will help you create a successful presentation to present to your executive teams. So the first step is determining program objectives, identifying behaviors and champions, then creating your program charter, then designing your program, engaging executive sponsors, and then finally measuring the performance. So beyond making employees feel more valued, the purpose of employee recognition is to consistently communicate, support, and reinforce enterprise goals and objectives. So making sure that the organization's strategic goals are reflected in the program's objectives is very important. Recognition can be used to promote the desired behaviors that dictate success. So provide employees with a unified purpose and reward those who successfully address the challenges that are prioritized by your senior management. So there's a few steps to help you get started. So the first is to pick initiatives that can be influenced and increased levels of discretionary effort by employees. So you're choosing objectives that your employees can actually have effect on. And then define the business strategy and goals and establish an initial program budget. This is very important to do at the start of your planning stage because your budget will determine what kind of program you can implement. And then determine how to motivate behavioral change among participating employees. And then clearly communicate the objectives of the recognition program. And then I just have another tip for you guys that when you're planning out your goals and stuff, to select measurable goals and establish key indicators of success so that you can really end up documenting the return on investment. And this is going to come in really important later. And then to identify the current state of improvement targets. So creating benchmarks, which will generate the data required to document progress and business impact. All right, so I have another quote. This one's by Tamar Elklees, who is the Chief Talent Executive at Atlantic Bridge Capital. So he says, employers that are effectively linking their social missions to their employees' daily work are differentiating themselves in the market and generating big returns. taking the necessary steps to ensure every employee knows how they fulfill the mission, achieve the vision, and execute one or more company strategies through his or her daily job really pays off. So again, just reinforcing the fact that aligning your goals with your company's goals is going to make your program all that more successful. So to put this in a real life example, one of our clients, a national bank, they aligned their recognition objectives with their values and missions through these peer-to-peer e-cards. So we designed some custom e-cards that featured their core values. So when an employee demonstrates one of the values, peers can recognize them through the use of their online portal. And this has really helped the company align their company values with the values of their goals of their employees. So just a quick, easy way to really align your program with your company. So as noted in the first step, collecting and analyzing data is essential for documenting successful business outcomes. But even in our data-centric world, it's really worth remembering that it's the people that create value and deliver excellence. So it's important to identify behaviors and champions within your office. So which job family or families most directly influence the metrics that you're trying to impact with your program? So study these job families to understand what makes the very best employee go above and beyond each day, and then build your program around these behaviors. So members of highly competent and collaborative teams that are pursuing innovation initiatives will probably be the best candidates to generate the most enthusiasm for your program. So you want employees to emulate high performance behaviors. And who's better to inspire your peers and model those practices that you want to replicate than those who are consistently demonstrating the power of engagement. So these high achievers, those are your champions. And once you have identified who can enable and support your success of your program, the next step is eliciting the help of these high performers and defining exactly what they do in their daily work that results in those significant contributions to business success. And then this input really validates the behavioral criteria that you will establish for your recognition program. So now you are prepared to establish the business case for your performance recognition and creating your program charter. So you'll want to provide the answers to the following questions. And we suggest just creating a presentation deck and list these questions at the top of each slide and then answer them in like 3 to 4 bullets. So the first one is, which specific enterprise goals does this program address? And then what behaviors does the program aim to reinforce? What metrics exist to benchmark performance improvement? How will success be measured? What is the business value / potential ROI of success? What level of investment is required to achieve that success? And what are the potential risks of not making the investment? So throughout this webinar, if you're following the steps, this stuff will be answered or primarily answered for you. And then armed with the support of your program charter, you are now ready to begin designing how your recognition program will work. So unlike conventional programs, successful recognition programs require a purpose-built platform. So the platform should enable the design and delivery of customizable, targeted employee experiences that really integrate recognition sources. So here's just a few key considerations for choosing a performance recognition platform. So the first is brand relevance. So your organization and your company culture is unique. So does the platform enable you to create customized branding and messaging for your program? That's very important. And then recognition sources. So make sure that your platform makes it easy for all of your recognition sources to deliver meaningful recognition experiences. So this should include managers, supervisors, team leaders, employee peers, and also your executive leadership. And then communications venues. So will the platform enable you to scale your program to reach your entire workforce? And with personalized solutions that engage your employees online, offline, mobile, and even through like messenger-based apps. And then innovate or incentives and rewards. So are you able to offer a wide range of incentives and reward choices that appeal to different diverse interests of employees? So are you able to incorporate language requirements, regional religious customs, or even male and female preferences into your recognition infrastructure? And then performance analytics. So does the platform provider enable you to track program success with analytics that document impact on business outcomes? All right, so before launching your new recognition initiative, really gaining your senior management's buy-in and support for the program charter and design you develop is critical. So your program charter presentation deck will come in very handy when you're presenting to your executives. So this presentation lays out the plan for what the program will accomplish and how the accomplishments will be measured. So we recommend adding a few slides that highlight your program design to complete your executive briefing materials. So now, who are the ideal executive sponsors for your program? So many recognition programs roll out exclusively as HR initiatives, but although support from your CHRO is vital, getting other C-suite and line of business executives on board is important to gain more visibility and credibility for your program. So again, you know your organization, you know who should probably be in there, but don't always just limit it to HR. So when you're talking to your executives, discuss the expectations and roles for the organization's leadership and their management teams. So really leverage the global reach and influence and also visibility of senior executives to promote the program across the organization. They are some of your biggest promoters. And then reinforce the importance of ongoing commitment from executive sponsors to spearhead the initiative. Also, emphasize HR's commitment to keeping senior management involved and informed through the entire recognition program lifecycle. And also set dates for executive briefings because those will help navigate any obstacles that might arise after the program is implemented. All right, so when it comes to measuring your results, it's really important to have set those benchmarks earlier in the planning stage because those benchmarks are exactly how you will determine success. Comparing where you're at now to where you were before at those benchmarks will verify your ROI. And then track all of your benchmarks for an appropriate time. So for some of them, that could be 30, 60, or even 90 days, or maybe some benchmarks shouldn't be analyzed until maybe a year has passed, like employee turnover. That's going to take a longer time to affect than other benchmarks. So after evaluating those results, look for look for opportunities to improve recognition initiatives. So this could be by enhancing your communications plan or adding new components. And to assess whether your employees enjoy the new recognition program, just ask for their feedback. Their feedback is probably one of the best ways that you can determine if the program is on the right track. So before the year, during the 30 or 60 days, you could be asking your employees so that in a year, you can more likely affect that ROI that you're looking for. So use your employees' answers to decide if you need to set new or more realistic goals, introduce new challenges, or even abandon some of the old ideas. All right, so thank you so much for taking the time to join us today for building a case for recognition. As a participant of the event, we're going to send you our white paper on how employee recognition benefits your bottom line. This is going to give you a lot of information on what employee recognition affects in your business and how it can drive those business results. So if you need ideas for proof or telling them why it matters, this is going to be a very useful tool for you. We've done all the research and put it all together. So we sincerely hope that you found this webinar helpful, and please don't hesitate at all to reach out to me or my team if you need any additional information or if you want to discuss strategies for your program or different opportunities. So we'd be happy to talk with you. And we can also engage our HINDA partner resources as well. So we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.